But we really look at this as kind of a passive income generator, something that is going to generate helium tokens independent of what's going on in the pandemic or the world economy. This is not a multi-level marketing company. We're an affiliate company with a very, very powerful affiliate commission engine in it. There's no recruiting that's required. There's no, hoops that you got to go through. It's very, very scaled down to make this possible for anybody to participate this in a wonderful way with zero cost involved. There's no cost to becoming a member of our iHub affiliate program, and there is no cost for those who qualify to participate in our hosting program. But those of you that recognize the power of building this worldwide network will want to avail yourself of the possibilities of sharing this iHub affiliate program. And so once an individual has a unit, they hook it up to their own electricity. As I said, it uses less than $1 worth of electricity a month. You hook it up to your internet connection. It uses very little of your bandwidth. And once it syncs to the Helium blockchain, it generates Helium tokens 24/7, 365 days a year. So what is this affiliate program, this commission structure? Well, in iHub, we're very, very sensitive to the power of leverage. And for decades, I'd been referring to this J. Paul Getty quote where he said he'd rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of his own efforts. And so we've kind of shifted the focus of that statement relative to our iHub affiliate host program. And basically, instead of having 100% of what you could potentially get off of your own Helium hotspot, but having no leverage, no opportunity to refer it, we are taking less than 100%, but being able to get 5, 10, 15, as much as 25% of hundreds or even thousands or even more than thousands of hotspots as a result of sharing this information and building this iHub affiliate program. So I want to kind of just give you just a very, very brief introduction to how this works. So there's no requirement to enroll any other affiliates. You can put a cluster of units together on your own and just generate the Helium tokens and be quite happy. And that's all that is necessary to do if that's what you want to do. But if you do see the vision of sharing this to build a large amount of units around the world in this, then you can share this information with other affiliates. And I'm just going to touch on this very lightly. And the way it works is, as you start to share this, you're building 4 separate teams of people. The first 5 people that you share this with essentially comprise your first team. The next 10 people, your second team. The next 10 after that, your third team. Anything after that is your fourth team. And the way it works is that on those first 5 people, if they get a unit and that unit generates, we're going to just use an example that each unit generates 100 Helium tokens a month. If that's the case, then that would mean that you're getting 10% of that 100. You would be getting 10 tokens a month from each one of those units. In the second team, you're getting that same 10%, but in an additional 5% on top of that. In the third team, you're getting that same 10%, but 2 5% on top of that. And on the third team, you're getting that same 10%, but 3 5% for a total of 25% that you would earn on those units. Now, let me just put this in perspective. So if you've got 5 members in your first team that have a unit, each generate 100 Helium tokens, that would be 500 at 10%. That's 50 tokens per month that you're earning off of those 5 individuals. On that second team of 10 people, you got 10 times 100. That would be 1,000 at 15%. So that's 150. 10 on your third team, that's 200 at 20%. And on your fourth team, there's an unlimited number of people that can be there. But just to keep this example consistent, let's say it's 10 people on your fourth team, and that would be 250. That's a total of 35 people that you shared this concept with that ended up getting a free unit from iHub, and you would be receiving these numbers for making that happen. Now, if you add all those together, those 35 people, that's 650 helium tokens a month that you're earning. If you look at that on an annual basis, that would be 7,800 helium tokens a month. If helium just stayed at the same $13, over the next year, which is highly unlikely, it's much more likely that it's going to increase. But 1,300 times $7,800, that means that you're earning over $101,000 for just introducing these 35 people that got one of these hosted units from iHub. Now, just think about what that means here. It didn't cost anybody a dime to become an iHub affiliate. It didn't cost any of those people to get a free iHub unit. However, they did have to have an address location that had a high score or a reasonable score that we have in our system. We've got a very, very powerful software package. You saw it on that little video. It's called Helium Track. We're going to be rolling this out on the 17th of July. It is by far, very far, the most sophisticated helium hotspot evaluation software, to the point where we can put an address in and get a very, very strong understanding of what is very likely that unit would be earning, to give it a scoring system. And then iHub would then send the free units out to, let's say it's got an A, B, C, D, E, F score, we would send it to the A and B units. And then the ones that were C, D, E, and F, we would be able to make recommendations of what can be done to improve that score. Maybe it's a unit that's kind of in an area where there's not a lot of other hotspots. Remember, having a cluster of 3 or more really generates it. So somebody could submit a grouping of 3 different addresses or more and get a much higher score than they would of each one of those being sent in separately, et cetera, et cetera. We'll talk lots more about that. But it doesn't just stop here in the program. Those 5% that I mentioned continue to go as well on other individuals on those second, third, and fourth team, a significant portion of those teams as they start sharing this as well. Every helium hotspot, whether it's one of the various manufactured brands that are out there, whether it's an iHub version of it, they're all on the Helium blockchain. And as a result of that, they're all publicly accessible, completely transparent, no smoke and mirrors. So you can see what's going on. Now, there are currently just over 80,000 hotspots that have been deployed. Now, just 10 months ago, it was less than 7,000 hotspots. And those 7,000 hotspots were all in the US and Canada, with just a handful of them outside of the US as test units. They started shipping units over to the UK, Ireland, and the EU in the fall of 2020. Quite a number of them over there. But as far as that goes, in the rest of the world, it's just a handful of units, except for over in China, where a significant number of units has been appearing over the last month or two. And they're getting ready to now start shipping units into Australia. A lot of people have already ordered in Australia, and they're just starting shipments into that. The rest of the world, the units that are out there are mainly from people that got a unit somewhere else and carried it to a location without it being formally introduced into those countries. So with this map, though, you can zoom in to any one location and take a look at specifically what's going on in that location. And I want to take a look at a particular area. This is in Vero Beach, Florida, this area here. Now, I'm pointing this out because the CEO of iHub, Rick Cotton, lives in Vero Beach, Florida. And 4 months ago, when we were just starting to gain access to units to start to deploying, there was not a single helium hotspot in the Vero Beach area. And so he started a model of building one of the first clusters within our iHub space, creating marketing and advertising strategies to find people to host units. He bought 10 units, but Again, unlike a Bitcoin or an Ethereum miner where you can have a room or a warehouse full of units, this is designed to provide coverage. And so there needs to be a separation of about 1,000 feet between units, because after all, the purpose of this is to literally provide coverage for the IoT devices within this area to be able to use one of these hotspots, these helium hotspots, as the means of getting their IoT data to the internet. And so I want to show you something, how this kind of started off. When Rick started, this is his first unit called the Trendy Tan Duck. Now, each one of these units has kind of a fun name to it. It's simply two adjectives in the name of an animal. And so when we look at that individually, it's represented by this white dot here. The gold dots with the lines going to them are units that the white dot unit is witnessing or being witnessed by other units in terms of what it's doing on the blockchain. The witnessing is the proof of coverage, proving that these units physically are there to provide coverage for the IoT devices in the area. We take a look at what this unit generated over the last 30 days, and we'll see that it generated about 156 tokens. So if you were the one that referred this individual, okay, again, let's assume that everybody was involved in iHub. You reached out, you knew this person in Vero Beach, they got a unit hosted to them, and they're getting 156 tokens for that situation. They would get a minimum of 10%. As we've shown in that previous chart and explanation of the affiliate program, it could be anywhere from 10 to 25% of this 156 tokens. But let's just look at it at 10%, 15.6 tokens at $13. That's about $203 that you're getting at a referral fee for this individual hosting this unit. And nobody paid anything to do that. And it's not just a one-time fee, it's an ongoing fee that you would get in the process of doing it. Now, the amount of helium tokens that the host would get in this situation, we're finalizing some things on that right now. Let's say, as an example, that it would be 20%. So 156 at 20% would mean 31.2 tokens. That would be $405 that the person hosting this unit would get for putting this unit into their home or business, using $1 worth of electricity a month and hooking it up to their internet using very little of their internet bandwidth. And that's an ongoing thing for the life of the unit, the referrals and the hosting, everything. It doesn't just happen in a short period of time, it's ongoing. So that's one example. We'll take a look at another example. This is over in Europe, in the UK, in the London area. This is a unit that's called the Strong Sand Chicken. I'm pointing this one out because, as I mentioned in Laura, it usually has a range of about 1 mile to as much as 10 miles, depending upon the density of buildings, depending upon the topography of the area. But in this unit, you can see it's reaching out considerably more than that 1 to 10 mile range. Covering different areas. And that tells me something important about this Strong Sand Chicken device. It tells me one of two things. Either that topographically, that's a location on a high point, maybe on top of a hill or on some foothills overlooking the rest of the area, or it's on a higher floor of a high-rise building, but it has some elevated vantage point that's able, through in radio line of sight, it reaches out much farther than if you're doing the same kind of transmission at ground level, and it's able to reach out there a longer distance. What is this unit generated? It's generated about 180 helium tokens, which really speaks on the connectivity that Rick was able to do with the clusters he started building in Vero Beach. Because they were all using antennas to ensure that they were able to communicate and receive significantly more than the general average of what people would earn in helium. So this unit was able to do it by virtue of it being at a high elevation. 181 approximately helium tokens. If you referred that individual If you were just starting off in those first 5 individuals and or just on your own, you'd be getting 10%. That would be 18.1 at $13, $235. But let's just say that this was the 26th person that you shared this information with. That would mean that person was part of your gold team. And in this case, you would get 25% of those 181 tokens at 25% times $13. That's $588 that you would be rewarded, not just one time, but ongoingly, month in, month out, 25% of whatever the unit mined for doing that. And nobody had to pay anything in order to have this process take place. We'll take a look at one more also in the London area. This one's reaching out even further. So I'm almost positive this is something that's in a high floor of a high rise. This unit is kind of way above the average. This unit has generated over the last 30 days over 500 helium tokens. Imagine if that was somebody as part of your, your 26 plus individual that you referred to iHub Global, they got a unit. And imagine if you got 25% of 520 tokens at $13. That's almost $1,700 a month that you get for referring that unit. Do you see how that quotation about rather having 5, 10, 15% or more of an unlimited number of other hotspots rather than getting 100% of your own, how profound and possible it is within the Helium program? And if you're looking at this for the first time, and even maybe a few times, it's very unlikely that you had a lot of knowledge about the Internet of Things. It may be that you don't know much about cryptocurrency or the concept of cryptocurrency mining. Probably you knew nothing about helium or helium hotspots or LoRa radio or proof of coverage blockchain, any of those kinds of things. But guess what? It isn't really necessary to totally grasp all this. Having one of these units that you host is as simple as hooking it up to your electricity and plugging it into your internet, other than maybe putting it in a better window location compared to one or another, or maybe using a more powerful antenna to boost the distance that the radio transmission is able to accomplish. It becomes pretty much set it and forget it. And just getting those helium tokens month in, month out, coming to you to take advantage of that. So kind of like learning how to drive a car, you're able to get to your destination, but you don't have to understand how the internal combustion engine works, or you don't have to understand how the mechanical components of your car operate. You just need to know how to drive it. So I want everybody to appreciate that everything in our life reflects decisions that we've made in the past, the choices that we've made, the actions we've taken on those choices. And if you want to experience a different outcome in the future that we have, then it's time to make some new choices and they take action on that. Get back together with whoever invited you to this presentation. Get your questions answered. Remember, there's zero cost to becoming an affiliate with iHub. Get yourself a unit reserved. It's free to reserve the unit. And then I want to thank you for your time and your focus.